Hello, everybody. Thanks for signing in for this quarterly survey administrators meeting for understanding PhD career pathways for program improvement project. We're very excited to work with you all, and we'll get going shortly. But before we start this meeting, wanted to hand the microphone over to Suzanne Ortega, CGS president, to say a few words about this project that, the 3 years partnership with you all that we're about to embark. Suzanne?
Good afternoon, colleagues. And I suppose for those of you on the West Coast, it's still morning, so good morning to you as well. I really just wanted to take a couple minutes to tell you how much we appreciate the work that you are getting ready to do and that you will join us in doing over the next few years. We really believe that these data are a powerful way of both illuminating the contributions that graduate education makes to our nation, but also, helping us as administrators improve the quality of the educational experience we provide. I am an old survey researcher in many, many meanings of that term, but I was reminded just how long it's been since I designed and got a survey into the field at a discussion yesterday about response rates. And as you all will know, that in an era of near ubiquitous surveying, it seems, response rates have really gotten much lower, so that we sometimes celebrate at 25, 27, 30% response. Well, of course, we're going to celebrate any response rate we get as long as it's as thoughtful and disciplined as we can be. But I will say that one of the things I know HERO plans on talking with you today is to share strategies that you are thinking about using to increase the participation of both students and alums. There's lots of things we can do to understand response bias, and there's lots of things we can do to correct for it. But it seems to me the higher the response rate we can achieve, the more confidence we will have in the data and the story we tell. Well, I think HERO is also going to talk a little bit about strategies, or get you to talk about your strategies for locating doctoral alums, two really big, important methodological challenges. So I really want to leave it up to you to have a really rich and productive conversation, to share with one another your best thinking about this, and once again, to simply say thank you very much for taking time to be with us this afternoon, and thank you very much for your participation in this project.
Thank you, Suzanne. So we'll get right into our meeting. So this is scheduled for 1 hour meeting. I want to be respectful for everybody's time, so we'll end by 3 p.m. Eastern. So for those of you who are regular for CGS webinars, we typically take questions in a form of writing into the text box. But since this is a group of us working on the same project together, so instead of just typing the questions into the box, we'll use the raise your hand feature, and for you to be able to speak to us through your audio or telephone capacity. So what you want to do is you click the, kind of intuitive, you hit the raise your hand button on the console to let us know that you have comments or you would like to ask a question, and you'll be recognized verbally, and at that point it will unmute you and for you to speak. You can also type your question or comment if you're a little bit shy and prefer to write things down. That's fine as well. We'll still find a way to embarrass you anyhow. And as always, webinar recordings and the slides will be made available to you. We'll email to you, and also for those people who are on our record as a survey administrators and project directors and the co-project directors. And if you have any technical issues, troubleshooting is available on the website. And for audio troubleshooting, okay, so the project, just as a reminder, I think all of you know that this project is funded, supported by generous support from the Andrew Mellon Foundation as well as the National Science Foundation. This is the in terms of the funding amount, the largest best practice project that CGS had thus far, and because of that, we also have very large project team that will be working on. Suzanne, our president, is serving as a principal investigator, and along with Julia Ken, Maureen McCarthy, and I serve as a co-PI, and Jeff Engler, Kay Stone, and NU Jill are also a part of the project team. So in one capacity or other, like you'll probably hear from us via email or future meetings, and we all are looking forward to working with you all with this project. So the exciting part is we now have the project logo. What we will be asking you is just so that people will recognize this PhD career pathways as a one brand. We'll be asking you to include this logo into your surveys when you start sending out, and other project communications and the deliverables, as well as the data products that you're going to create. Of course, you are more than welcome to associate this project logo with your own institution's logos as well. And more detail about the logo and the guideline on how to use will be issued to you by August 18th. But I just wanted to share with you that you'll be seeing this logo a whole lot more as we use it. And in fact, I think every slide from here on will be using that. And in addition to logo, this project will be using the hashtag PhD Career Pathways, which you see in the right bottom corner of slide as well. And this group, I imagine that a little bit of the research-oriented, it's a group of research-oriented people, so just to kind of walk through the conceptual picture of this Career Pathways project. So there are like three elements that comes with this project. The one is the survey, the part that this group will be focusing initially. So we have alumni and the student surveys for this project. So the first step, and many of you are already engaging in this process, or you already have submitted us, but obtaining the local IRB approval and submitting the data sharing agreement to CGS. And then move on to locate and recruit respondents, program and administer the survey, and prepare the data for analysis as well as the CGS submission. And once we have those data, what happens with this project is the career preferences and the outcomes data will have. You'll be design and develop data products and the resources for local stakeholders. Your graduate school will be using the data collected in some capacity on informing the program improvement. So you'll be thinking about design and the development of those products. And to do the analysis of the local data and to compare that local data results against the national data, which we patch all of your data together as a one aggregated data. Then finally move into the program improvement part of it. That's where you would be communicating the resulting data to your campus stakeholders and the others, and facilitate a data-driven program improvement for PhD programs at this campus. So it's a long process, and the survey is one aspect of it, but beyond just collecting the data, what we want to see is like how the data will be processed and communicated to stakeholders, and eventually informing the decision making and the program improvement at your campus. So for study site, there are several activities that we are asking the study sites, both the research partners and to the extent you'll be participating, the affiliated partners to do. One is develop a plan and implement the CGS Career Pathways alumni and the student surveys, and this is this group is primarily focusing on the beginning part. Then perform analysis of the resulting local data to inform the improvement of doctoral programs. And importantly, they're sharing the survey data with the CGS so that we can create the aggregated data set for national benchmarking and other studies that we'll be performing. And then participating in a CGS study that exposes challenges and lessons learned in the process of your implementation as a CGS best practice project that we'll be asking that information as well. And a CGS on our part that we'll be doing the both what we call as the best practice research as well as the fundamental educational research that related to this Career Pathways project. As an education research project, we'll be looking at the career outcomes of doctoral alumni, particularly in the STEM area, and looking into the differences between the academic and the non-academic careers, what type of jobs they held, and what sort of responsibility and how some of the professional development exercise might be related to those outcomes. And also, we'll be through this data, we'll be discussing if this academic versus non-academic distinction is a still meaningful category in explaining the labor market participation of STEM doctoral degree holders. And again, as a best practice project, we want to know about the promising ways in which graduate schools will administer these survey and the data collection effort, and then use those resulting data toward a program improvement for doctoral programs at your campuses. So that part will be conducting the best practice. In more than one way, that your participation, both from the research partners and the affiliated partners, are very important for the success of this project. Also, from the both in terms of your success, but also in terms of success for our obligations to our funders as well. In order for CGS to conduct a robust study of career preferences and outcomes of PhD students and alumni, we will need a large enough sample size to capture the differences in the cohorts, institution types, and also the fields of study. So more institutions participate in this data collection effort and be able to share the data from across different type of the disciplines will be very helpful for us to have the the large enough data set for us to do the sophisticated analysis. And also the other part is, in order for CGS to understand how you implement, how you sustain these data collection effort and facilitate the data-driven decision-making at your campuses, the learning from your experience is very important. Whether you are research partners or affiliated partners, your experience in planning these survey implementation, talking to your campus stakeholders, and getting the buy-in from other offices outside of graduate schools, and how you might secure the resources to administer these surveys or recruiting alumni and students to participate in these projects is very important information to capture. So in that sense, not just sending the data to CGS, we really need you to really document and keep a good record of what sort of planning conversation you had on your campus and how you've been implementing these projects and how this project and your efforts at your campus have been received by your others on your campus as well. So that is the overview of how the projects look like, and I see a hand. Kim from Arkansas has a hand up 25 minutes ago, sorry. And I think you already unmuted. Kim? Oh, Kim, you can type the question as well and we'll go from there. We also have Nasreen from Binghamton. You unmuted. Hi.
Hi. I actually have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
I am not in graduate school. I am just helping graduate school to administer this survey.
Mm-hmm.
I am from institutional research. So I have a couple of questions. First of all, do we have a timeline when this survey is going to go? And based on whatever I have read so far, I mean, student survey, the current student survey, no problem. I have the current email and everything, but for the alumni survey, I think I saw somewhere that you want to do 2 years, 5 years, something, 10 or 15 years, something like that, or did I see it wrong somewhere?
Okay. Yeah, so in terms of timeline, that's actually our next slide is about the timeline. So we'll cover then. Is that okay?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
A couple of questions about the alumni survey. So what if the campus does not have the email addresses for those alumni that goes, far back?
Well, so so that's one of the discussion question that I wanted to pose to the whole group about some of the locating the alumni question. But as far as like if you do not have doctoral alumni for 15 years out or 8 years out, for affiliated partners, there's no requirement in terms of that you have to cover all the 80 year out and 15 years out alumni. Like just the extent that you have contact information may work. But we'll have a little bit more discussion. We'll a couple of slides later, we'll open up the floor to talk about if others have idea on doing the answering to some of those questions about the locating the contact information for alum. Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Great. Thanks. Okay, so I have another question about how we are defining the STEM. So the definition of STEM is going with the National Science Foundation's definition for the purpose of this project. So we'll include the social and the behavioral sciences. And as far as how we classify those fields of study, we'll be primarily relying on the taxonomy list that CGS used for CGS GRE survey of graduate enrollment and degrees. I believe earlier in the RFP documents we included the list of disciplines, but I can follow up with this whole group about the taxonomy using for this one. It's not completely based off the CIPCO's, the National Center for Educational Statistics uses, but it's pretty closely aligned with the CIPCO. Oh, about the scope and the research question side of it, so the reason that part is explicit and mentions STEM is the fundamental education research side of the questions for this project is supported by National Science Foundation. So our primary obligation to answer those questions for the STEM, but that doesn't preclude us from discussing further about finding some arts and humanities as well. So yeah, we'll be covering in some respect. So alumni survey, in terms of the time, who will be surveying. So the alumni survey is designed to capture those doctoral degree recipients 3 years, 8 years, and 15 years out of your doctoral programs. And for this round, the fall 2017 wave of alumni survey, that means that for project partners, research partners, we are asking you to collect the data for those people who earned the doctoral degrees at your institutions between July 1 and July 30, so 2001 to 2002, 08, 09, and 2013 and 2014. Those are the 3 cohorts of doctoral degree recipients that we would like you to focus your effort in administering this alumni survey. And the survey in the Qualtrics format is available. If you have not send us your email accounts that are associated with your Qualtrics account, you can send information to career pathways at cgs.nch.edu, and I will be sure to add your account information and be able to share that. I think there's some technical difficulty right now, so be patient with us. We'll try to resolve it and make sure that the people who requested access will have access shortly. And so when we share the Qualtrics version of survey, we'll be sending you with the copy-only authority. So what you can do is once you receive it, you can copy the instrument to your account, and if you need to make any modifications, you're free to do so from there. But if you're just so that the whole community can benefit from changes, any modifications or thinking that you have, when you do change the Qualtrics survey, please send again the email to careerpathways@cgs.nche.edu to let us know about the types of changes you made, so we can pull those information as well. And again, once you receive the logo guideline in August, please include the project logo in your final version of a survey that goes out to your alumni. And also to make sure that the potential respondents know that beyond the use by your graduate schools and the programs, the data will be used by CGS project team for its research purposes. So they just have the information as well. So a few things about the survey. You're more than welcome, and you're certainly free to administer the survey to additional fields other than those fields that you told us that you'll be collecting the data. If you're research partners, you are more than welcome to go beyond what you listed in your initial proposals in terms of which fields and disciplines that you'll be sending this alumni surveys to. And also sending the survey to other cohorts. Again, so the scope of the project is to send the survey to alumni the 3, 8, and 15 years out of doctoral programs. But if you'd like to send the survey to the additional cohorts of doctoral alumni, you're free to do so. But please keep in mind that because we'll be doing this survey this year, next year, and beyond, hopefully, make sure that there's not too much overlap in terms of the same group of people being asked to complete this survey year after year. So if you send a second year alum this year, you will end up sending the same survey next year as a third year alum as well. So. Yeah, so make sure that you'll be mindful about it in case you expand the group of alumni you're sending the surveys to. Another part, incentives. I believe Jeff Engler has communicated, and also in other documents as well, that you cannot use the NSF portion of your subaward toward the incentives for survey respondents, so please plan accordingly. The timing of survey, we do not dictate when this survey should go out in terms of precise dates, as long as the survey is administered during the fall, and you're able to share the data with the CGS by the data submission deadline, which is in March. And also for locating and recruiting respondents, again, you're encouraged to be creative in your outreach efforts and maximize the response rates and the reach of this survey as high as possible. From our standpoint, there's no minimum requirements for response rates. We do not have an arbitrary line in what defines as the good enough or not good response rate from the individual institutions for the purpose of this project. But we encourage you to be very creative about how you might approach in the recruitment, locating and the recruitment effort for these doctoral alumni going forward. So what I want to do now is, and I think this is the part that we can all benefit from, the good ideas or promising practices that some of the institutions might already be engaging in terms of finding the contact information for doctoral alumni, or some of the creative ways in recruiting and encouraging the alumni's participation in this type of a survey. So I'd like to open the floor up for any ideas or any plans that your institutions might have, and I would like to share with the rest of the group. So again, if you can use the raise your hand option, that will unmute you in the order, or we'll try. Oh, there you go. So I see, hold on, Andrew, and how do I?
Hi, this is Ambika. Andrew and Anne-Marie are also here with me from Wayne State. So we just sent a link to one of our articles in the Change magazine, in which we have detailed how we contacted doctoral alumni, and we reached about 88% of our alum who then responded to our surveys. So some of the things we did was reaching out to departments directly and to faculty, and then we also employed some student assistants to actually do a lot of the legwork in terms of mining social media, including LinkedIn, etc. And LinkedIn proved to be better than Facebook. And people were more honest in LinkedIn about their employment as opposed to Facebook. So there was a lot of that, looking up websites, following up. Also, one of the things that we're doing is asking alum to, that we don't have certain other alum that we have been able to reach. So basically a buddy system, that if you know somebody who we should be contacting, to let us know. So our rates were around 85 to 90% in that. So just wanted to share that link, and that article is available in a PDF format.
Okay, great. Yeah, we'll send out the article you sent to us when we circulate the recording and the PowerPoint slides from this meeting. In the meantime, any other folks like to share some ideas or your planned approach? All right, so we have, so the University of Wisconsin-Madison is first finding address information, then mailing a survey invitation that includes a small cash incentive to entice them to take the survey. And Heather from University of South Carolina, we work with our Office of Institutional Research Assessment and our Alumni Association to populate a spreadsheet with alumni information across selected degree programs and the specific years. We will then work with the individual departments to attempt to complete the missing information. However, we have all names PhD alumni, so can use LinkedIn and other online sources as well. We also have Wendy from UMBC. We plan using our own funds to offer survey completers name into a raffle where they can purchase items in the bookstore. And I believe I thought Jenny in Missouri had a hands up.
Yeah, we are contracting with a company called EMSI, and we are getting all of our undergraduate and graduate, we're sending all of our graduates lists to them, and they are doing all the data mining. And so it's not an inexpensive endeavor, but it's something that we need for outcomes data for a lot of other projects, and so we're going to use those as our primary way of gathering the data for alumni.
Good. Thank you. Rosemary?
Yes, thanks. I have a question for those institutions that are planning to use incentives. We were planning to do the same, and I understand we can't use NSF funds. I was concerned, or we were concerned, that because NSF also does not allow cost share, we could not use it. We could not use institutional funds for that purpose. Do you have any? Can anyone give me a ruling on that or advice on that? In other words, we kind of were thinking that it meant that the NSF part of the study would not be incentivized for alums or students, but the Mellon part would be.
That's a good question. And so the University of Wisconsin-Madison, the Marty just wrote, using non-institutional funds, non-tuition, but from another outside revenue source to pay for incentives. But the further clarification about your question around the cost sharing part of it, we'll ask our was the point person for budget conversation, and we'll circle back with this group about our take on how that might work out.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts or the thinking about how we might, look for doctoral alumni and the recruiting and the encouraging the participation? Hi, John. I think I'm muted. John Drew from University of Washington. Well, John, we can't hear you, so let me know. I just muted you back, but if you still wanted to talk, please do the raise hand and let us know. So we have a question about the Survey Monkey. There's no particular reason around it. It's just so happened that Qualtrics is currently the online survey platform of choice for CGS. This is no way of endorsement of one particular product over the other. But since we use Qualtrics, and during the planning of this project, we just tested to make sure that we can use the logic display and the response logics with this online survey platform. So the reason we can share the Qualtrics version with you is really the byproduct of our planning process, and not necessarily. Aside from that, there's not good reason for it. I think Rosemary has another question. Hi, Rosemary.
Yes. Hi. We are using Qualtrics, and I know you mentioned earlier that the format of this survey will be made available in Qualtrics. I was wondering, will we receive a QSF file? Or what type of file will we receive the survey in?
Currently, I've been just sharing what we have. So I'm just entering the email address, the email account that associated with your Qualtrics account, and sharing it that way.
Oh. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But would that still allow me to, or allow us to be the owners of this survey?
You should be able to copy that to your account once I send it to you, and from there you should be able to modify and make it your own. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
On a form, I gave them your contact information.
So John Drew, okay, it is. So University of Washington, the alumni consent allows sharing alumni contact info during the duration of the grant with the participating departments. Any problem with this? Well, John, I think, not sure. Maybe we should talk offline on this one too. Well, mainly because once we receive data from your institution, we'll continue, or we have possibility of continue to using this data beyond the grant period. And as long as that is covered by us, covered by your agreement, I think that should be fine. And I also have another question about those without a Qualtrics. In terms of the file we can share is the PDF version of the questionnaire with all the questionnaire items and the skip logics that annotated in. That's the file that currently available on our website. Yes, we can send the Word version. Thanks, Samira. So that's the issue that the shared Qualtrics file somehow not showing up in your folder. That seems to be the problem that we are having right now, and we are looking into that. So please be patient on that one. See John's hand again. I'm not sure if that was the earlier question.
Hiro, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. Hey, John.
Sorry, I fixed the mic issue. So I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
The question about contact information was, we know that we will develop a contact list prior to gathering responses, but after we've gathered responses, will want to manage those contacts through the years. And we hope to do that in partnership with our departments. So we would be telling our alums that we would be sharing the contact information in terms of updates with the departments. And, so I'm hopeful that that's okay in terms of the appropriate data sharing.
Well, that's, I think, it sounds more like within the institution. I think it's more the institution's policy within the UW. Because for us, we are not going to get contact information for students. So our data sharing, or the data sharing between CGS and research partners and the affiliated partners will only be on the survey responses that you gather, minus the student ID numbers. So you should never share with us any direct contact information with your alums or doctoral students. So in terms of that, kind of sharing that within your institution to other departments outside of graduate schools, that will be more the institutional policy rather than the setup with us.
Thank you. We'll work through that with our IRB. I do have one other quick question about the alumni survey instrument itself. The first questions in the survey asked the respondent to identify whether they received a degree from the university and the program and the date of the degree and so forth. And we were wondering, to ensure data quality, if we could offer to the respondent the information that we have about their degree and then ask them to confirm and correct if necessary.
So,
is that?
Well, so in this round, I would say, so for wave one, the full 2017 survey, I would say no. So I believe the advisory committee who developed this survey instrument have some discussion about whether some information should be pre-populated based on the student ID information and others for the data quality reasons. But in the end, the advisory committee opted not to go with that route. And that's also why towards the very end of the survey, there's a voluntary release of student ID information. The concern or the point that advisory committee had was, I guess, in order to ensure the very candid responses about career outcomes and also for the current student survey, the career preferences of those doctoral students, the advisory committee felt that it should be completely anonymous, or at least that the respondents feel that the survey is no way, unless they opt in, is connected to their student ID information. So for that reason, for this round, I think we'll just honor what the advisory committee has suggested, and not to link and pre-populate the survey responses at this point. But I think this process is meant to refine this process better. This 3-year partnership with you all will inform us what would be the better and the most efficient way in moving forward with this type of data collection efforts. So if enough of you raise the data quality issues and also survey response issues, and if the pre-populating the survey improves the quality and also responses significantly, that's something we should revisit and make a suggestion for the future changes. So sorry about the rather convoluted answer, but I think that's where we stand at this moment.
Oh, that's great. So I also want to ask then as a follow-up, will we be able to modify those disciplines to our actual participating department names and then map that to CGS disciplines as we load the data to you?
If you can, yes, as long as the data submitted to us is a map to the code book we provide, Yes, if that makes it easier for doctoral alums to identify themselves, that seemed to make sense. It's just that, yeah, when we receive the data from you, we want to make the process as seamless as possible. So.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thanks. Another question from Nasreen?
Yes, I actually have similar questions that we just to confirm. So when we are going to share the data, we are going to share the raw data with you, just the way the Qualtrics will capture the data, with minus the identification number or emails.
Yes, so yeah, we do not want, so we only want the responses to the survey. So no contact information that are associated with how you sent out the survey to potential respondents. And as far as the responses go, we want all responses except those on the student ID information. I actually have a slide for that. So let me advance to that. So we're going to talk in more detail about how we would like you to share the data in our next meeting. For this one, I wanted to focus more on how to get the survey going and then make sure that the survey is going out to people we want to collect the data from. But as far as the data sharing side of it, so the data will be due on March 1st. And we'll be asking you to give us all the data in the clean, the recorded based on our code book, except the items 50 and 51, which basically the consent for releasing the ID and the student ID number itself. And those are the kind of format. But again, we'll go into more detail about that at the next call, probably in late October, early November.
Got it. So, and we are also not to pre-populate the data when we send a survey. So that's what you mentioned, right?
Yeah. So yeah, when you send out the survey, yeah, the preference right now is not to pre-populate the data.
So my question is, there is a question whether you would share your ID with us. What was the purpose of that question at the end?
So for items 50 and 51, where we ask student ID numbers is really for your benefit. In case you want to connect the survey responses to enrollment records or other administrative data, that items is meant to give you an option to do that.
Yes, but we can get it before we send the survey. I mean, when we are going to send the survey, we already know who these students are. But we are not going to do it. So my question is this like a totally anonymous survey, like open link that you cannot trace the response to other than the email addresses that you had?
I think the idea behind it is yes, it's meant to be anonymous and so that we can receive very candid responses around from the doctoral students and the doctoral alumni. So yes, that is probably the intention that I get from.
Okay, and my understanding is that I do survey all the time that very few students will remember their ID or share the ID for that purpose of analysis. I think that's not going to do very well, because if we ask this question to alumni who graduated 10 years or 15 years ago, they will definitely not remember their ID. But another question regarding the data. So when we submit the data, you are going to generate a report for each school, or it is going to be a general report and benchmarking, for example, the benchmark. So do we get the national data to compare against our own data, or how does that work?
Yes, so let me go advance to the final slide for today's meeting. Well, before we go, so again, in our October-November meeting, we'll talk more about the transmitting the full 2017 alumni survey data to CGS, and the data won't be due to CGS until March 1st of 2018, and we'll talk more about that then. And as far as the data resources goes, we'll be creating the individualized data reports. And so what we are going to do is, once we receive the data from all of you, we'll patch the data together and create a large data, or the national benchmarking data set. And for each research partners and affiliated partners will issue some type of individualized data reports. And in addition to standardize the data reports, we'll take up to 3 user requested data tables. So if you want to have additional data tables, we can accommodate that way. And in the long run, we'll be looking into the other data analytic tools as well as the public use version of the micro data sets without compromising the privacy of respondents. So, the first data resources which project partners and affiliated partners should expect would be the individualized data reports, and that should be available late summer of 2018 is our timeline. And in terms of what this data report is going to look like, we want to make sure that whatever the data reports we are going to generate is something that helps your decision support and other capacity you play at your graduate school. So we'll convene another group to we'll solicit volunteers from the project partners and research project partners and affiliated partners to see like who wants to be part of the discussion group to talk about what type of data tables or what type of other data products may be useful for you, and we'll go from there in terms of what these products might look like.
So that individual report will have the national norm embedded in there? For example, we will have the Binghamton data as well as the national data in that particular item or table? How about the
individual data reports?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, those are so what exactly makes sense for you? If it makes sense for us to provide a national data or trying to have a more peer comparison, I think those are the part that in the separate data user working group we want to engage folks to solicit in coming.
We will have an opportunity to provide our peers to you so that we can compare against them and it will provide us that data, something like that.
I mean, theoretically possible, but again, that's a little bit too much. It is a little bit deep in the weed in terms of details. That I think when we convene the data users working group, we can continue to have this kind of discussion to see what makes most sense for you all to create.
Yes.
Develop
I'm sorry to ask all this question, but this is my first information session, so I just wanted to know everything. Can you also please add me to your contact list so that next time you have a meeting or webinar or any information?
Of course, we can do that.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so it's 2:55 here, and I don't see the hands up. There's a question about if the data analysis will also cross-tab with the NSF data sets like survey of earned doctorates and the survey of doctoral recipients. Some data elements have overlap with those NSF data sets, so that may be the one data source that will be benchmarking against these data as well. But again, we want to engage you and the others that who are part of the project and what sort of data resources it makes sense for you, and trying to create the kind of products that add value to you the most. So stay tuned for the more conversation about this. But that was really what I intended to cover today, and I think we have 5 minutes to spare. But if there's no immediate question, my contact information is there via email or phone call or Twitter with the hashtag PhD Career Pathways. More than happy to have a follow-up as well. Hi, Nasreen.
Hi. About the IRB, I have one question about IRB. Can you share your IRB approval so that I can submit it with our IRB application? That way we can expedite the process with the national survey, the benchmarking survey. We get the vendor IRB approval so that our process goes a little bit faster.
Yeah, we can send you our IRB documentation to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Well, thanks everybody for participating in this meeting. And again, whether you're research partners or affiliate partners, you play a very important role in making this project successful for both just CGS and also the graduate education community at large. So we're very much looking forward to working with you all, and we'll be in touch soon. So if you have any questions, feel free to send us email. And again, we'll be sending you recording PowerPoint presentation and also the resources that Ambika and the Wayne State team has forwarded to us later this week or early next week. So thanks again, and have a good rest of the day.